As we begin this season of Lent, that started on Ash Wednesday this week, last week I kind of alluded to Lent as a season of self-examination, kind of had a metaphor for self-examination that was less like digging deep for something, more like opening a door to let the light of the Lord shine into our lives. I want to use another metaphor for what this season, I think, is helpfully like for us, or at least for me. I'm always delighted when Lent comes around. It is a season of penitence. It is a season of cutting back. It's a season of, being, fasting from things. And so often people are not looking forward to that. But from my perspective, what it does is Lent interrupts my world. It comes in and it interrupts my regular flow of life and makes me stop and think about some things. And what I liken it to is tending a garden. Now, I'm perhaps a poor person to talk about tending a garden because I'm not the world's best gardener, but I know at least some of the principles and I do have to pay attention to them. And there is a real sense in which when you're tending a garden, you have to pay attention to the soil. Like, I can't make the plants grow, but I can pay attention to the soil. Our garden is filled with sort of clayey and unproductive soil. And so when I'm doing that, there's other kind of topsoil and things that I can put into that soil to promote growth. There are also in my garden that I have what the deer don't eat. I have weeds. There are some things that grow up that I don't want. They're just these random weeds that I also need to pluck out and pull out of the garden. And Lent for us is kind of the spiritual equivalent of that. There is, again, we cannot create growth within ourselves. Paul plants, Apollos waters, but God gives the growth. It is the work of God to create growth and transformation within us. However, I can tend the garden. I can stir up the soil. I can pull out this weed that is in the way, that is crowding other things out. I mean, that's kind of what fasting sort of is. It's pulling out a weed that's crowding other things out so the other things can grow. And I can basically tend with my time, my prayer, what I'm fasting from, I can tend the garden of my soul that promotes a place for God's growth to happen during this season of Lent. Lent, for me, is always a season of gift that invites me to do a little gardening in preparation, quite appropriately at this time of year, in preparation for growth that will come. So I hope that as you spend Lent this year, you think about it that way. You find ways of getting the Lord to show you the weeds to dig out. You stir up the things that need to be stirred out. You add the things that bring better life, better kind of context to the soil. And you anticipate the growth that God will bring.